I just want to remind you what was taking place as we approach Resurrection Sunday. On Friday, I was at the cemetery, and I was preparing to officiate a burial service. And I got there before the family arrived, and I just had a moment in the cemetery by myself. And as a believer, we know that that's just a shell, and that's not the eternal resting place. So I don't spend a lot of time at the cemetery. So it had been quite some time since I've been there like that. And it was the first time, been in ministry a long time, but it was the first time that I was at a cemetery on Good Friday. So to think about Good Friday and to physically be in that space, thinking about death and thinking about afterlife, at a time where all over the world people are celebrating the crucifixion, the death, and the burial on Good Friday. And as I was reflecting, I started thinking about Jesus and what it was like for him as he was approaching the assignment. And 14:27 says, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not let them be afraid." Jesus was preparing for his final assignment, which was to do what? To die for you and you and you and you and you and you and you, and hit your chest, for me. Say it, for me. A lot of other people done a lot of other things for you, but ain't nobody did what Jesus did for me. And the disciples spent a lot of time with Jesus. And although they spent a lot of time with Jesus, they still couldn't quite wrap their mind around the final assignment. Every time I spend time and look at the disciple, I see us there. Because no matter how much we learn about death, for some reason we're never prepared for it. We're never quite ready to let go. And that's where the disciples found themselves. And Jesus had a lot going on. And in spite of all that he had going on, what do you have going on, preacher? They were doubting him. They were hating on him. They were doubting his calling. They were backstabbing and betraying him. He had a lot going on. Does anybody have a lot going on in your life? Is anybody going through anything? And in spite of everything that he had going on, you know what he did? He still served. He had the weight of the world, a heaviness. When you've been called to die for humanity, for people who don't even appreciate you, when you've been called to do something for people who are going to betray you, when you are called to do something better than they're going to do for you, right? That's a different level, right? That's a different level of belief, right? Because we want to be very transactional with our faith. Well, I might pray for them depending on how they've been treating me. I might show up when they ask me to be on the block depending on what they did for me lately. Jesus didn't do none of that. He's preparing his final assignment. He's preparing to die. He's preparing to take on the sin of humanity. And he still served. How did he serve? He said, you know what, Mama Sally, I'm going to meet you right where you are. I recognize that you don't understand, and I recognize that your faith isn't where it's supposed to be, so I'm going to remind you of this, that the peace I leave with you, this peace is different. Right? Pastor Zach, the peace of the world is very temporary. Right? When there's no conflict going on, they're like, oh, that's a peaceful situation. And then when there's something going on, they're like, oh, that's not peace. But Jesus is saying, my peace is different. My peace is everlasting. Regardless of you, if you know how it's going to work out or not, my peace is that. My peace is a gift. Pastor Zach's been preaching about the moment and different types of moment. And here it is, Jesus is in his moment of his final assignment. And in that moment, he was still selfless. He didn't care about anything else going on. He said, I'm still going to serve. Can God trust us that when we're going through it, that we'll still show up for somebody else? On Saturday, when we put out the call to go witnessing, regardless of what type of week you have, will you still show up for somebody else? Oh, wait a minute, preacher. Now you're making it relevant to what we're talking about right now. In spite of the moment that you might be having, can you see past your own moment and say, I'm going to show up like Jesus? Because Jesus was about to die. Jesus was about to go through it. And he said, disciples, I got you. And you're like, but preacher, you don't understand what I'm going through. You don't know what's happening in my life. What does the end say? Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not let them be afraid. I recognize that we don't know how it's going to completely play out, how the situation's going to take care of itself. But he says, don't be troubled. And he's talking to his disciples during a very troubling time. He is telling them that I'm about to die, and they thought that he was the king that was about to wreak havoc on everybody. What you mean you about to die? What you mean you about to leave us? What you mean there's going to be an absence and you won't be here? Can God trust you during the absence? Can God trust you even when you don't hear? Can God trust you when you don't understand how it's going to work out? Do not be afraid. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. True Vine, in spite of what we go through, keep on showing up. Look at your neighbor and say, keep showing up. It's going to be hard. Keep showing up. You're not going to be in the mood. Keep showing up. It's going to hurt sometime. Keep showing up. There's going to be some grief and some pain and some suffering. Keep showing up. God bless you. Keep showing up. Keep showing up. Keep showing up.